Yo, what's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
It's like it's Minute Maid, hijack 4, renegade, 24, number 8, Kobe shit fade away, ballin' since 11th grade, still in school, let them hate.
So if some of you didn't know, every year ESPN drops this ranking list called ESPN 100. And what these ranking lists are supposed to do is let us all know who are the best hoopers coming out of high school. The people at ESPN been doing this since way back in the day in 2007, and they have updated this list until the year 2023. And in the year 2023, they just ranked a bunch of 15 to 16 year olds like Mikey Williams and Bronny James, as most of y'all know. Now these ESPN 100 ranking lists are very sacred to me. Hold on, I didn't mean to use that word. That kind of sounded pretty weird. My bad. What I was trying to say is that they're pretty interesting because we don't know what's going to happen 12 to 16 months from now for each and every prospect. So much can change and so much can happen, and it definitely did, as you will see in today's video. We're about to go back to see who rose, who fell, and who showed up out of nowhere, and how much of these prospects changed their value. Let's go. Quick commercial break. Yo, Mojo channel, if you hadn't heard about it, well, now you have. Go subscribe. It's my second basketball channel. Basically, anything that doesn't make the cuts of this channel will go on the second channel. Let's go. So boom, here is the list we've all been waiting to see. And what I noticed right away is that the only real prospect who was able to retain his value in some way, shape, or form was that man Anthony Edwards, the big body shooting guard out of Atlanta, Georgia. Now, of course, Anthony Edwards is not viewed as the fourth best player out of this draft class, no. But at the time, he was viewed as the fourth best player coming out of high school. See how quickly things changed? And now today, he's the consensus best player out of this coming draft. He has that freakish NBA-ready body, and he's pretty skilled too, already at such a young age. So as we can all see, Anthony Edwards has been in his bag and has not slowed up or let any of the distractions that possibly phase a whole bunch of people his age. He didn't let that happen. He got all the momentum that he needed back in prep school and high school and all that, and just used it to fuel him up until this point right now, to the point where teams like the Golden State Warriors are blown away, and also the Charlotte Hornets are blown away by the way he's performed in his one-on-one workouts. Anthony Edwards is one of the rare talents that we see these days who are able to somewhat retain or even boost up his stock just a little bit coming out of high school and coming out of college. Now, if you go ahead and pay attention to the rest of the list, I say the top 10, there's a whole bunch of question marks, there's a whole lot of questions going on. James Wiseman. Now, as we all know, I've said this so many times on my channel, that man was the poster boy, or at least he was supposed to be the poster boy for this up and coming draft, but instead, as we just mentioned his name, Anthony Edwards is, and also LaMelo Ball, who we don't see at the top 15, he's nowhere to be found at all. But instead, we see James Wiseman. Now, James Wiseman has had one of the most rarest cases that we've ever seen last year. The man just so happened to be ineligible because of some, under the table money being dished out towards his way and his family's way. But we didn't really get a fair chance to display all of his talents like an Anthony Edwards, like LaMelo Ball, and all the rest of his peers, literally. But before all that mess happened, before all the hullabaloo, and before people like me and so many other scouts and in detail guys who like to watch the game dissected his game, he was viewed as the hot stuff. He was viewed as the must-have type of guy, the generational type of talent that someone's struggling franchise needed. That was James Wiseman. He was bigger than most back in high school, more athletic than most back in high school, and for centers close to his height, he was pretty much faster than him too. So he's an athletic freak that doesn't come by too often in the NBA draft, and I have to say that is very true. But I feel like just how special so many people portrayed him to be kind of blew things out of proportion and gave him so much hype that I feel like he kind of didn't deserve. And best believe that social media played a huge part in this. Now that we're on from James Wiseman, let's focus on who were 2, 3, and 5 in this ESPN ranking. There's Cole Anthony, Isaiah, who the hell is that? Stewart. And then there's RJ Hampton. Now, Cole Anthony and RJ Hampton were viewed as easily potential lottery picks literally just last year. Now, Cole Anthony's case is just a little different. I like him more as a player. He just went through so much BS back in college. First up, he went through injuries, and secondly, his team was pretty trash. It didn't cater to his needs as a young point guard who likes to get to the rim. Now, even though to the general public he's not viewed as a lottery pick, I still feel like he's gonna be near that realm, and he's not gonna be like a 30th pick or 25th pick. Hell no, no NBA GM is going to let Cole Anthony slide back that far. I feel like it was just injuries and the lack of shooters on his team that really held him back. Isaiah Stewart. we're still gonna pretend like that dude doesn't exist because I barely know who he is. But on to 5, 6, and 7, RJ Hampton, Vernon Carey, and Jaden McDaniels. RJ Hampton was viewed as the next Westbrook-ish type of point guard in the NBA. He was uber athletic and he played with hella heart on the court. But one thing about him that many can say and see about his game easy is that his shot was pretty suspect and not on par as to the rest of his peers, and that proved to be very factual. Look at his shooting percentages when he played overseas. They were not that great at all. Now, I still like RJ Hampton as a prospect. I just don't think he was this big superstar potential type player like so many things, but I still think he can be a very nice, solid NBA player one day. But this future NBA player shocked the entire world just about last year or 2 years ago maybe now, when he passed up on schools like Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, and Memphis. He passed up some of the biggest basketball programs in the entire United States just to go play for some random overseas team. And I like that move. So many people congratulated him for that move and giving the NCAA the big middle finger. But just now thinking about it, I believe that him joining some overseas team rather than playing for some NCAA team really hurt his value as a prospect, because he chose not only to curve the NCAA, because he chose to play with grown men who are fighting for their jobs rather than some college students who are fighting for a potential job, their dream job. Instead of battling some 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, he's battling some 30, 25-year-olds who are full grown and developed and know the game way more than these college prospects do already. That hurt him, but it won't hurt him enough to the point where he's 25th pick or something like that. Now on to Vernon Carey. This man is looking like he'll be a 25th, 30th pick because his type of archetype in the NBA, the type of center he is, they aren't that popular anymore. They do still have a place in the NBA. Trust me, he's super talented and all that stuff, but his place is just not viewed as valuable and as useful these days. Some of the next recognizable names are Jaden McDaniels, Nico, and also Josh Green. Let's get to it. Jaden McDaniels and also Nico were super clouded on Instagram. Really, Nico, that man was viewed as the next great white point guard, and really, I still think that he's going to be a great point guard, but all that hype was very unwarranted, and Jaden McDaniels is getting some hype that is obviously dished out every year to any tall, lanky, skinny dude, that Kevin Durant comparison. He just so happened to land it this up and coming year, and such events played out to the point where people were questioning his character and just how committed he was to his craft and what he does. And also, he really didn't play that well in his freshman year. So this man went from being a top 10 pick to a top 15 pick 8 months ago to now, worst case scenario, early second, late first round pick. That is quite depressing if you ask me. But what's more important is who's absent from this, and the obvious is LaMelo Ball. He's 21. The consensus best PG from this class was viewed as man just about a year or two ago. Let that sink in. Had enough time yet? I hope so, because I'm really tired and I'm trying to end this video right now. LaMelo's path to the NBA is one that very few of us have seen before. Him going through high school, leaving before he could hit his junior year, then going overseas to play basketball with his brother Jello in some country that we've never heard before until he started playing there. And going from that to seeing him and his father create their own league and seeing their own league play not only within the city in the United States but also overseas, to finally going back to high school to finish out a senior year at Spire Academy or something like that, to just realize that the scholarship offer that he got when he was 13, 14 years old to go to UCLA was then snatched away from the higher ups of the NCAA. Him and his father took their behind to Australia to hoop over there, and that turned out for the better, because now I believe that he is, or probably will turn out to be, the best player from this draft when we look back at it 4 to 5 years from now. LaMelo Ball went through the most adversity out of all the top prospects in this class, and to see him shine above the rest, or at least above most of them, just shows how easily he deals with adversity. And I ain't gonna lie, if I'm an NBA team, I want that type of player on my team. I want that type of character to be the leader of my franchise. I want them to lead my franchise to the promised land. Right next to LaMelo Ball is, what do you know, Big O. He showed that he was the real deal and just not part of LaMelo's side characters or entourage. No, he is the main character. He was one of the main characters when he went to Chino Hills too. And he pretty much came out of nowhere. No one expected this big body, versatile defensive monster to be the man, to be the player that he is today. Now, as you skim through this list some more and more and more, oh, what do you know, we see Tyrese Maxi. He's one of the very few prospects who somewhat retained his value and didn't drop or necessarily skyrocket his value at all. And what do you know, you see Isaac Okoro. He was ranked number 40, but it's pretty much a lock to be at least a top 8, top 9 pick in the 2020 NBA draft is gonna happen next week. Ain't that crazy to say? This man Isaac Okoro is better than 90 to 80% of the dudes who are slotted ahead of him in this ESPN 100 ranking list. I think it's important to peep high school rankings once in a while, but don't ever put too much emphasis on it. In today's age, there's never been as many distractions as there are today. So much chaos is happening, and it's so easy to get lost in the sauce as a young person today. That follower count can inflate someone's head. Girls, hoes will literally throw themselves at you, and that will cause you to allocate your time rather than in the gym instead someone's house, putting in some other type of work, if you know what I mean. Gross. Bro, there's so many distractions that can knock some of these prospects off their game. And I didn't even mention unforeseen misfortune, injuries, eligibility issues, and so on and so forth. Just know that so much can happen in just the span of 1 year, as we all just witnessed. I believe that these ESPN 100s lists are good, but also poisonous at the same time. Poisonous towards the people at the top because they may let the fame get into their head and just remain comfortable with their game and not evolve and continue to build their skill set. But to guys like an Isaac Okoro, a Tyrese Maxi, a Big or a LaMelo Ball, that is amazing fuel to get them towards the top and elevate their game and prove all these scouts and professionals wrong. My theory was basically proven already by the way most of these mock drafts are looking at. Look at who's towards the top and look at who's towards the bottom and look at who was lost in the sauce. This is the end of the video though, man. I really do appreciate you for coming over here on my channel and seeing what I have to talk about today. That is extremely dope for you. Now, besides everything that I just said, I really hope that you go ahead and leave a like on this video, comment, like, subscribe, and turn on that Mojofication bell and check out the rest of my draft playlist. But outside of all that, I really just hope that you make your day great. I'll get right with you.
No way, remember back when I couldn't get a play, no home, I ain't have a place to stay, I got to work, made the surf, free the way, told my girl who'd ever thought